Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
Last night in Baltimore, Evan Longoria continued his season-long power surge as Tampa Bay grounded the Orioles for the second time in 3 nights. Today, right-hander Jake Odorizzi goes to the hill, looking to lead the Rays to a series victory. We welcome you to the final game of this 11-game road trip. The Rays started this trip 0-3, and they go into the game this afternoon in Baltimore with a chance to have a winning road trip. They are 5-5 as they beat the Baltimore Orioles. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Couple of reasons the Rays could feel good about today. One, the series that Evan Longoria is having, and the other one is the right-hander on the hill, Jake Odorizzi, has been pitching so well since the All-Star break.
When you get your big boys rolling, you can do big things, and Evan Longoria has certainly done that here in this series against Baltimore Oriole pitching. It was a 3-run homer in Game 1 of the series, a 2-run shot in Game 2, a solo shot, and a triple that played a big role in last night's game, and it adds up to this, a .538 average, 3 homers. He's now set a career high with 35 and continuing to count there, and 8 runs batted in that has taken him up to 94. Don't make a mistake to Evan Longoria right now. He's going to make you pay. And Jake Odorizzi, what he's done since the All-Star break, really, it's been just fun to watch. I mean, a 6-1 record, that ERA 2.78 in 11 starts, and it starts with the repeatable delivery, and that leads to fastball command. He's been able to command the fastball both sides of the plate, doing a better job of pitching in. The secondary pitches have come along, and Jake Odorizzi has taken off.
Rays came into Baltimore winless here at Oriole Park this year, but they've taken 2 of the first 3 games in this 4-game series. Baseball, Rays and the Orioles moments away. Scattered clouds overhead here at Oriole Park, Camden Yards. Rays and the Orioles concluding their season series, and the Rays have won 2 of the first 3 games of this one. Baltimore starting the day 3 behind Boston, tied with Toronto for 2nd in the East. Take a look at the Rays starting lineup, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Mikey Montook will get a start, leading off in left, followed by Kevin Kiermaier and Evan Longoria. It's Brad Miller at short, hitting cleanup. Steven Souza Jr. hits 5th, playing right field in front of the DH Corey Dickerson. Richie Schaefer another start at first base. At second base, Alexi Ramirez and Luke Maile behind the plate will hit 9th.
Well, and manager Buck Showalter is hoping that Wade Miley can regain his form facing the Tampa Bay Ray lineup. He's got good career numbers against the Rays. These are the season numbers, but since coming over to Baltimore in a trade on July the 31st, in 8 starts, Wade Miley is 1-5 with an ERA of 8.41 as an Oriole. Let's take a look at the defense and see how it's going to line up behind Wade here this afternoon. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in the outfield left to right, we have Hyun-Soo Kim, Adam Jones, and Mark Trumbo. Across the infield third to first, Manny Machado, J.J. Hardy, Jonathan Scope, and Chris Davis, with Caleb Joseph getting the call behind the dish.
Well, there is Buck Showalter in the Baltimore dugout, 3-time manager of the year in his 7th season as the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, and Kevin Cash sending Mikey Montook in that leadoff spot to start this game, and he fouls the first pitch away. 83 degrees here in Baltimore today. Montook had an opposite field base hit in the 8th inning last night, driving in a couple of runs. Count even at a ball and a strike. One and two. Two.
Little stumble there by Wade Miley on that fastball, yanking it down and in. Doing a little bit of handiwork there on the mound. Boy, landed very awkwardly on the side of that foot.
Pitch popped up down the right side. That will fall out of the reach of Trumbo, and the count is still 2-2. Well, a Louisiana matchup here with Montook and Miley going at it. Mikey born in Lafayette, Louisiana, out of Baton Rouge, and Wade Miley out of Hammond, Louisiana. A little ground ball down to third. Machado makes the play, and Montook is retired. Third to first. So one gone in the Rays first, and now Kevin Kiermaier to hit against the lefty.
And for Wade Miley, when he's right, you'll see an awful lot of that. He gets a lot of ground balls, a sinker baller.
Yeah, there are a lot of years when he's pushing 50% in the ground ball rate, a little over 47 now.
And when you're talking about going through a lineup 2, 3, sometimes 4 times, that's a good number.
Pitch is a strike to Kiermaier.
I feel like we've kind of ruined it for everybody after talking about how Zach Britton is over 80% on the season. Now 50% seems, borderline fly ball guy.
It's a strike, and the count is 0-2. Yeah, Britton is just in his own category. And Kiermaier reaching for the breaking ball out on strikes. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, sharp with that pitch. Wade Miley can be tough on the lefties. You get a little bit of crossfire action, and then look at that's a traditional 2-finger, not the spike curveball, but he yanks it down there, well located, down and away and into the dirt.
Now Evan Longoria Evan with a couple career home runs off Smiley. He misses that one out in front of the off speed. Well, the Rays with 4 home runs in the series, and Evan has 3 of them.
Yeah, I had big predictions for this offense in this stadium. I started at 10, and unless they go absolutely crazy today, that's not going to happen. But this guy, and he spread them out too, 1 in every game.
Yep. 35 now for the year. Ground ball by the mound. Scoop by Scope, and he throws him out. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays. No score. More a 1, 2, 3 first for the Rays, and the Orioles coming in to hit. We'll take a look at their lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Adam Jones leading it off, followed by Young-Soo Kim, and then Manny Machado. Mark Trumbo back in there after some back spasms. He's in right. Chris Davis at first. Jonathan Scope at second. J.J. Hardy followed by Pedro Alvarez, and then Caleb Joseph behind the plate batting ninth.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon, Jake Odorizzi making the 31st start of the season, looking for that 10th win. He has been absolutely on fire since the All-Star break. 11 starts, a 6-1 record, an ERA of .278.
Jones takes the pitch too high from Jake Odorizzi. Back into the top of the screen, now 1-1. Our Buick GMC big matchup right off the top here. A couple of home runs, 11 for 31. Adam Jones against Odorizzi. Two and one. Mary Cooper is calling the balls and strikes. And if a pitcher gives him a chance, he'll be a pitcher's friend out there. He'll expand that zone a little bit off the corner with a right-handed hitter. Into right. Souza Jr. has to go over his head. Off the wall. Jones rounds first and hangs on there. And a base runner for Baltimore.
Just a little bit of a misplay there by Souza Jr. I don't think that he realized how hard that ball was hit. I think that Souza Jr. thought that that was a softer line drive that he could kind of get a read on. But as you see Adam Jones, that ball down and away, he goes out to get it. Does a nice job of covering the plate and getting to that pitch and hitting it very hard. And Souza Jr., who was drifting, not able to get back in time.
A base hit for Jones. Now here's Kim. Takes a pitch too low. Kim, after a slow start, finishing strong, hitting .310 for the year. Had a run batted in last night with a fly ball and a base hit. 1-1. Tap right side. Down to second. One. Back to first. Safe there. Odorizzi getting over to take the return throw. Schaefer started that play with a toss down to second to get Jones.
It was ruined by Hyun-Soo Kim getting down the line, but a nice job once again by Richie Schaefer. Absolutely no hesitation here. Attack the ball, spin, and throw. All in one motion. Gives a good feed to Miller, a good return to Odorizzi. You couldn't have done it any better. It just was thwarted by Kim. That happened to me in college, too.
You were thwarted
by Kim.
We'll get into that later.
Back to baseball. There's no more West Coast trips. We can't.
Here's Manny Machado. Now that'll be for the plane ride home.
Yes.
1-0 the count. Machado hitting .304 with 35 home runs. This pitch is down 2-0. Well, Jones led off with a base hit to right. And Kim hit into the fielder's choice. Jones out at second, 3-6. And that has brought us Manny Machado to the plate.
Appreciate that.
My pleasure. 2-0 the count. On deck is Mark Trumbo. Foul ball right back into the screen.
Who's in the hole?
That would be Chris Davis. He's playing first base today, and behind him, Jonathan Scope.
I'll take it from there. Thank you.
Well, just quickly, Hardy, Alvarez, and Joseph. For those of you scoring this game at home or in the booth, there's the lineup. There's a shot deep to center. Kiermaier's going to turn out that plenty of room and make the catch as Machado lifted that ball back into center field. 2 outs now.
Does anybody have more fun playing defense than Kevin Kiermaier?
No, I haven't seen anyone.
No. Well, let's set the rest of it here. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. Mikey Matuk out in left, Sousa Jr. in right. And then through the infield, third to first, Longoria, Miller, Ramirez, and Schaefer. Luke Maile behind the plate.
And here's Trumbo. Mark Trumbo with 42 home runs. 100 runs batted in. Pitch is low. Trumbo 5 out of 15 against Jake Odorizzi. The foul ball right back out of play, and it's 1-1. Take a look at that home run derby list in the American League. Trumbo by 1 over Brian Dozier. Who would have picked that at the beginning of the year? Dozier's power has increased, but no one thought that. Encarnacion has 40. And the tap foul runs the count to 1-2. Kim the runner, 2 outs. Trumbo played the first game of the series. Out the last 2, and there's the chopper deflected by Odorizzi. That was Miller on the carom, and then the toss to Ramirez, but just not in time. And again, Kim beats a play to the base.
Yeah, I mean, the second time that the hustle Kim getting down there to second base on that ground ball. Watch this, right off the glove of Odorizzi. It's going to go right to Brad Miller, but Kim is busting it.
And he's also calling the plays on the bases.
Doing it all.
So here's Chris Davis. Foul back by Chris Davis. Upstairs, it's 1-1. Davis, 7 career hits off Odorizzi, 7 out of 26, 3 of those home runs. High fly ball into left. Matuk looking for it, now toward the line. He had a little trouble finding that initially, but caught it about 10 feet fair. 2 men left. No score through 1. Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's Brad Miller leading off against the left-hander. Wade Miley's pitch too low. 28 home runs this year for Brad Miller. Picked up his 73rd run batted in of the season last night. He's ahead of the count. 2 balls, no strikes. Three and 0. There it is, a strike, 3-1. Steven Souza Jr. on deck. Fly ball into left. Kim goes back, and just as he hit the track, Kim puts it away.
Man, you get the feeling that today is one of those days that you're going to see some balls leave the park. Anytime Brad Miller gets one up in the air, You know, it's a possibility how hard he hits the ball. It'll be interesting to see Wade Miley if he can maintain this pace. You know, he works quickly. Sometimes it can get to be a detriment working too quickly and getting out of your mechanics, rushing towards home plate. And I think that that's part of the problem that he's had here, and trying to prove himself to a new team in a pennant race, trying to do a little bit too much.
Steven Souza Jr. takes that pitch for a strike. Well, as you well know, that's not an easy spot to be. You're the new guy.
No, I was traded one time, you know, during the season, and that was to the Kansas City Royals in 2003. They had gotten off to that great start, and I think when I got traded to them, they were a game out of first. And you know, I remember when I showed up, Tony Pena called me in his office, and he said, "You are going to pitch every 5 days. I don't care if we get rained out 4 days in a row. You're going to pitch every 5 days." Okay, fine. I don't know, you know, Mike Sweeney. I know Mike Sweeney. I don't know anybody else on this team. In fact, Joe Randa, our third baseman, introduced himself to me when we threw the ball around the infield to start my first game. And so there is a tremendous amount of pressure you feel. This team has been fighting all season long to put themselves in a position to, you know, to try to attempt to make the playoffs, and now they're looking to you to be a difference maker, and you haven't been there. You don't know most of these guys, and so there's a tremendous amount of pressure, and if you don't handle it the right way, things can start to spiral out of control.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, because they are looking at you as a guy to help them. You sort of feel as if you could be an interloper if you don't get the job done.
That's right. That's right. You
Scope
talk about
takes care of this.
That's what really drives you. That fear of, I do not want to be what messes it up for these guys.
Yep.
And so you start to, you know, if you take that too far, you can put so much pressure on yourself that it really limits performance.
Yep.
And hinders performance.
Well, that's the situation Miley has walked into
Yep.
here. A team needing some help in the rotation at the time he came here. They've been battling it out in the East. Here comes this left-hander who has some experience in the American League. Spent a good amount of time over in the National League, but with Boston last year, he was 11-11, made 32 starts, and now he comes in as a member of the Orioles, and you have to think it's a certainty that he feels that pressure.
Yep, no question about it. And as he's gotten off to a bad start here with Baltimore, it just increases. It goes up tenfold in your mind if you let it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to block that out. Off to a good start here this afternoon.
He's retired the first 5, 1-1 with Corey Dickerson. And that's a strike. Corey 0 for 8 in his career against Miley. Is out on strike, so 1-2-3 inning again. We go to the bottom half of the second. No score. moving into the bottom of the second inning. A Toyota inside look on Jake and the breakout before the All-Star game and after the All-Star game.
Well, the big difference is Jake Odorizzi and throwing inside once again. You know, he got away from that a little bit. I think teams started to kind of lean out over the plate against him. So getting back to controlling both sides of the plate with the fastball and then the secondary pitches, specifically that changeup, has been better than it was before the All-Star break. That gives him some depth and allows him to play the below the zone, above the zone game. And then all of a sudden, you know, even the curveball and the slider have been better.
Well, a liner right there caught by Longoria. Jonathan scoped the first out.
And the defense has been better.
And that never hurts.
Never. There was one that hung right there. It looked like that was a base hit, but Evan Longoria, he's got some range and reach.
You know, it's interesting. We have watched him since the All-Star break, and he's had great stuff, as you mentioned. He's had a couple starts where he didn't have everything working, and he had to get a little creative out there. And he survived and pitched well, even under those circumstances, which is really encouraging in the development of a pitcher. That step into that reliable veteran status.
Yeah.
And he's only 26, but he figured out ways to still survive and get guys out.
Yeah, maturing as a pitcher and realizing that it's not all going to be there every start. And how in the world do I buy time and get outs and survive a ball game? And you're right, Dwayne. That's exactly what we've seen. We've seen him very sharp, but we've seen him battle too.
The count on J.J. Hardy. Couple of hits in the first inning for Baltimore. They left 2 men on, did not score. Ground ball and shaded toward the hole at short. Miller makes the throw to first. Rays had Hardy defense that way, and that helped Miller toward the hole at shortstop.
Well, when you take Alexi Ramirez, who's playing second base here this afternoon, by the way, said he would play anywhere. They're holding him to it. And you move him up the middle. We've seen J.J. Hardy. He was wearing out Matt Andriese yesterday with balls, you know, hitting him. And so he likes that up the middle. So if you move Ramirez to up the middle, now you've got the luxury of being able to move Brad Miller over in the hole for anything that might be rolled over. That's the same thing that we talk about when you have the shift on, like right now. You've got Alexi Ramirez in shallow right field. You can take Richie Schaefer then and put him right on the line to take away any attempt at a ball up the line for extra bases.
Foul ball rolling to the backstop. 0-2 the count. There's Schaefer. Schaefer's handled himself well around first base.
He really has. I thought he played his best game last night. Was good around first base. Active, swung the bat wells, had a couple of nights of back-to-back big hits, and probably coming with increased playing time, he's getting an opportunity and trying to seize it.
Everything down to Pedro Alvarez, and a base hit. Pitch up a little bit. He serves it into center. Kiermaier returns it to the infield.
That was one of those changeups. That was a first half changeup. You know, good change of speed at 83, but there was no finish to it. It didn't have that bottoming out action that we're used to seeing from Odorizzi. And watch right here, that stays pretty true. And that's why Alvarez is able to go out and get it. That was the early changeup. You know, and the thing is too, that if you don't get that finishing action, you know, a true circle change will spin, you know, like a fastball. It'll spin tighter. When you have that split change, there's more of a tumbling action. Easier for a hitter to pick up the tumbling action. So if it doesn't have the, you know, if it doesn't bottom out, they recognize it and it stays on that same plane, it gives them a chance.
Strike the count to the catcher, Caleb Joseph. Bounds it back. Joseph hitting 185. time due to an injury. Around Memorial Day, suffered a testicular injury. The 0-2 upstairs. 1-2. Joseph, 124 at bats without a run batted in. Sends a fly ball toward right center. Souza makes the call and the catch. No runs, a hit, and a man left through 2. No score.
Alexi Ramirez is due up second this inning for the Rays. You guys were mentioning the fact that he was playing second base today in the last half inning. Ramirez hasn't played second base since his rookie campaign with the Chicago White Sox back in 2008. Caught up with him before the game, and he said, hey, I'm a shortstop, so I can play second base. Very comfortable moving over to second base today. And Brad Miller, a guy who played mostly shortstop with the Mariners, but also played second base as the second most position other than shortstop when he was with the M's. They don't want to mess with him anymore, guys. He has enough on his plate. He's played short. They moved him to first, played outfield earlier in the series. So even though Brad has experience at second and it's been 8 years for Alexi, they said, hey, let Alexi play second, and he's fine with it. Back to you.
All righty, here's Schaefer with a strike to count. Lifting this one down to play down the right side, 0-2. Well, and Ramirez, you know, at this point of his career, we've seen him. He's still very good at shortstop. He's a heads-up infielder. Got great athleticism, and certainly, as he said, I'm a shortstop. I can play second, no problem.
You love the confidence, and you love that willingness to do anything. You know, I think anytime you end up being sent home, like Alexi Ramirez was before the Rays call him up and bring him back over here, you start to take stock of things, and you say, you know what, I kind of like this game, and I'll do it whatever I can to stay in it.
And a guy like Ramirez, I mean, you could see him playing any number of positions.
He moves smoothly.
Schaefer sends it into right. Trumbo backs to make the catch. One away.
You know, his mannerisms out at shortstop scream shortstop.
Yep.
You know, he's got a smooth way about him, and so yeah, that translates.
So here is Alexi Ramirez, having 294 since coming to the Rays, 242 overall with 6 home runs. Pitch is a strike. He's faced Miley before. 3 of 11 against him. And that's strike 2. Miley coming off a start his last time out. That was on the road in Boston, and he failed to get out of the second inning. Pitched an inning and a third there. Gave up 8 hits and 6 earned runs. The shortest start of his career in terms of innings pitched. Tapper. Miley off the mound, throw to first in time to get Ramirez. So that's 8 up and 8 down against the left-hander so far in this game.
Well, he stayed within himself. You know, the problems that we heard about in coming into the series, you know, rushing a little bit, working quickly, rushing to the plate, too much pressure on himself, bad counts, you know, a lot of hits given up. I mean, he had thrown 35 in the third innings for the Orioles, 53 hits.
Yep.
You know, not a ton of home runs, just 6 home runs, but boy, in the stretch, a ton. But here, out of the windup all afternoon, he's throwing the ball very well.
Ground ball to short. Hardy's got this one. Luke Maile is out on 1 pitch. We got to the bottom of the third, scoreless. Force's 69th birthday. USAA honors those who've served in the U.S. Air Force and all of our service members around the world. The Rays in Baltimore headed into the bottom of the third inning, and Adam Jones, the leadoff man, will lead off for the Orioles, followed by Kim and then Machado. Jones had the base hit his first time up on that liner towards Souza Jr. and right. He lines this one into center field. Over to make the pickup, Kiermaier. Jones aboard again.
Adam Jones changed his swing right there. He anticipated the Jake Odorizzi fastball up in the zone, and he was short to the baseball and got right on top of it and hit that liner out into left center. Watch him get on top of this pitch. Just levels out the swing, gets on top of it. Boy, that was a nice job, a nice adjustment made by Adam Jones. You take that normal big swing with a little bit of lift to it, and you're going to foul that pitch off or pop it up.
Now Kim takes the pitch wide. Hyun-Soo Kim reached out a fielder's choice in the first. 2-0. The Orioles and the Rays playing this afternoon. Two other games of vital importance to Baltimore later on. The Angels play host to the Blue Jays in Anaheim. It's going to be a foul ball and out of play. Stroman and Meyer, the matchup on the West Coast. Blue Jays and the Orioles with identical records of 81 and 67. And tonight at Fenway, the Yankees and the Red Sox square off. Sabathia against Pomeranz in that one. The 2-1 to count. Strike in that corner. 2-2. Four hits for Baltimore.
One thing that Jake's been able to do in these types of situations is get the ball on the ground. Not a ground ball pitcher, been able to get some ground ball double plays. You'd love to see one here.
Yeah, his ground ball rate a little under 37%, but 12 double plays thrown.
It wasn't that long ago, I think maybe 2 seasons ago, that for the year he had one ground into a double play, but he's starting to realize, you know, he likes to pitch up in the zone with the fastball. He gets a lot of pop-ups and fly balls, there's no doubt, but situationally he's able to go to some of the off speed and get the ground balls.
Kim lifts this one into center field, not very deep, and Kiermaier makes the catch.
You know, even that pitch right there, you know, that was off speed below the zone. The fact that Kim got it in the air, well, he just continues to thwart what the Rays are doing. That's going to be the theme of the day, I think, with Hyun-Soo Kim. But that was a ground ball pitch. Just happened to get that one airborne. I may end up telling that story on the air late in the game, though. Late in the game.
Okay, good. Give us all something to stay tuned for.
It's worth it.
Here's Machado. Cutting the miss. Jones the runner at first. One and one. Eight hits for Machado against the Rays right-hander, 3 for home runs. Be careful with him. 2-1. Trumbo on deck. And a nice stop by Maile. Now 3-1. I'll tell you, if Odorizzi and the Orioles continue to see as much of each other as they have this year, this is the 6th start Odorizzi has made against them. They're going to be exchanging greeting cards for the holidays. That's tough. For a pitcher, I would especially think.
You hate
6 times.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, you play each other 6 series, which means Jake's hit every single one of them.
Little roller, first base side, bobble, and everybody's going to be safe. A fair ball, a little number, and Schaefer just had to get away from it.
The action on the baseball, it's spinning sideways. You've got to really smother those. Watch it, you know, this ball off the end of the bat, it's nubbed and it's spinning all over the place. And so Richie Schaefer trying to just let that ball roll into his glove and then race Machado to the bag, and it just spins right out of there. I mean, those balls, when they're spinning like that, you almost have to just smother them. They're not hit that hard, but you know, you let that roll into your glove, and if it's spinning sideways with that kind of action, it's going to spin right in and out, just like what we just saw happen.
Well, now it's Trumbo, the Major League's leading home run hitter, with 2 men on and 1 out. Fastball too high. Trumbo got credit for the base hit that deflected off Odorizzi's glove in the first to Miller, and deflected it enough so that the base runner Kim could arrive safely at second. Stepped over first, and he got back in there, taking a shot at Machado down there.
Yeah, throwing behind the trail runner, and it was close. You see Machado, look at Richie Schaefer sneaking in. And that's what happens. You know, with Machado thinking that Richie Schaefer, or knowing that Richie Schaefer's behind him, you may have a tendency to get a little bit of more aggressive secondary lead. That's a little play there run by the Rays where Richie tries to backdoor him. Just didn't work out. Close.
That's close. Did he go? He did not. And it's a 2-1 count. Back over the screen. That pitch jammed him a bit. Up and in.
Trying to mitigate the power. Go up above the strike zone, bring it close to him, so it you try to tie him up a little bit. Trumbo wants his arms extended, wants that pitch a little bit lower, something he can drive.
His pop foul out of play. Couple of men on, a base hit and an error. And here's Odorizzi facing Trumbo again. His 42 home runs, a career high. And he gets him. Cut and a miss. Big swing there. Some dip on that one. And Trumbo, a big out. The first strikeout of the game for Odorizzi. The second out here in the third.
And it is. It's the changeup. It doesn't have that same dip. That was more of the change of speed that got Trumbo. You see how out in front he was. But, you know, you work a guy up in the zone with some fastballs, let him see it up there, and then all of a sudden you drop that changeup in there, take 7, 8, 9 miles an hour off of it.
Here's Chris Davis. He misses that fastball. Keeping it up.
Up and in, and just completely overpowered and tied him up for that first strike.
Goes to the same spot. 0-2.
Exactly the same spot. Hitters do not like to get beat in with the fastball at all.
Popped up into left. Mikey Matuk in a few steps, makes the catch. So they leave 2. We go to the 4th. Still no score. The Roberto Clemente Award is a nominee from each major league club who represents the game of baseball through extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions. The Rays nominee is Chris Archer, and you can vote for him on social media using hashtag #VoteArcher on Twitter and Facebook. Mikey Matuk here in the 4th inning, ahead in the count, 1-0, 9 in a row retired by Miley. Took out in front, tapper foul. Charlie Montoyo distributing a souvenir. Foul outside of third now. Broken bat. Kiermaier next, then Longoria. Baltimore through the first 3 innings have left 5 men. The Rays still looking for their first base runner. Toward the hold, and that's going to get through. Rays get that base runner. A base hit just to the right of Hardy. Mikey Matuk aboard to lead off the 4th.
Find a hole. That's exactly what Mikey Matuk does. Rolls over that pitch, and I don't know, even if J.J. Hardy's able to get to that, I still don't think that he'd be able to throw Matuk out. I think that's a hit either way, and it's a good start here. Scoreless game, leadoff runner on. Leadoff hitter on.
And so here's Kiermaier. And a move to first. Miley is one of those guys who can put a lid on the running game. Only a couple of steals and 4 caught stealings. They'll pick you off as well. Oh, look out. That pitch up and in, and Kiermaier hit by the pitch. The first 2 men on here.
Well, this is where Wade Miley has struggled. Once he gets into the stretch, runners on, runners in scoring position, the numbers are really, really bad here, and he hasn't had to deal with that all afternoon. So all of a sudden, all this time later, first pitch from the stretch, and it hits Kiermaier right in the forearm.
So suddenly 2 men on, nobody out, and Evan Longoria, who's had a great series and a very good road trip, in here against Wade Miley. Strike 1. He does have a couple of career home runs against Miley. Came into the game 5 of 22 against him with 2 home runs among the 5 hits. A 1-1 count. Into the dirt, and it's blocked by Joseph. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light today. 35 home runs, his single season career high at 33 in 09. And that's a strike on the corner down. Too low with this one. The count is full. Well, again today with Eric Cooper back there, we've seen if you can consistently be around your spots, you have a good chance to get the benefit of the doubt and get the call if you're the pitcher, as opposed to an umpire who's going to make you throw a strike. He's willing to work with you and kind of look for strikes, if you can be consistent with it. So he really, if you're pitching, a pretty good guy to have behind the plate.
Yeah, if you can command the ball around the zone, that's the key. That's always the key with those types of umpires. But
I think those umpires really are the best kind.
They are.
They help move the game along.
They do.
You know, hitters have to be a little more aggressive.
I mean, hitters, you like to swing the bat, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
swing and a
what you're
miss.
gonna do.
Runners go. Throw to third. Out there. Ray started the runners as Longoria strikes out. And Montook is cut down at third. Joseph throws him out.
Well, Kevin Cash right now looking back. Tom Foley. We'll see if they end up getting him. Off they go. Caleb Joseph right to Machado. I don't know. We'll see.
Gary
Yep,
Cedarstrom on the call.
Conceded. Boy, look at that. He gets rid of it from the knees. Machado gets down there and gets that tag onto the left hand. You know, we talk all the time about how you've got to be so accurate with these tags. And Machado comes down and is able to apply that tag while moving.
So a strikeout, double play. Montook caught stealing at third. Kiermaier advances to second on that play. And now Miller missing that pitch, taking the count to 1-1. So 2 outs, a man at second. And there's a strike. Breaking ball that didn't have a lot of break, but it caught the strike zone. Pretty close off the plate, up and wide. 2-2. Single by Montook. Kiermaier hit by a pitch, and on the 3-2 pitch to Longoria, the Rays starting the runner. You see Miley lost his footing on that last pitch. He's done that a couple times now.
Yep, they saw that in the first inning, first couple of pitches of the game. He went stumbling off.
And low with that pitch, a breaking ball. Count is full. Well, out of the stretch, he's hit a man, and he's had back-to-back full counts. That caught stealing. Joseph throwing out the runner very big. That's been a little piece of it foul. A breaking pitch, 3-2. Foul out of play. Kiermaier attracting Miley's attention back there at second. He steps back. There goes Kiermaier, the pitch high, throw down, not in time. He's in with a stolen base. So a stolen base, a third base this time. And Kiermaier with his 20th steal of the year, 18 in a row on the walk to Miller. And now Buck Showalter's wanting to take a little time to get a video update on the play at third. Kiermaier in.
Boy, awfully close. Awfully close. Machado doing a nice job again of trying to get that tag down as he's moving. Kiermaier challenging Wade Miley. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like he gets him after that right foot hits the bag. Boy, this is the part of replay that you can't stand.
Yeah.
Is every close play, you've been trained now, your eyes go right to the dugout because the manager's got to tell everybody to wait, got to wait for the phone call. You hope that they can clean that up somehow. I don't know how you can, but that's just one of those annoyances of the modern day baseball game. Nothing you can do about it. But it gets tiring.
Well, here's Steven Souza Jr. Takes a pitch in. Well, how about the way this inning is stacked up? A single, a hit batter, a walk, a steal of third, but that strikeout and the caught stealing at third has kept the Orioles above water. Souza with 2 outs up here, ahead in the count 2-0. So the Rays have done about everything except score in this inning. And Miley has struggled with his consistency out of the stretch. This one up the right side, slicing, and it's going to be out of play. He had good distance on that one down that right side, but a foul ball. Foul. Curveball reaching and bouncing it foul.
And trying to find a way to wiggle out of this inning.
Rays need a big hit. Souza Jr. fouls it again.
Well, the one thing you know about Wade Miley is, for the most part, you can look in the lower part of the strike zone. Very rarely does he climb the ladder, and usually when it's up in the zone, it's not by design. He perfectly set up for a fastball up in the zone right here, but that's not typically what Wade Miley does.
Fouled again. Wow. Off to the right this time.
I tell you, those balls get into the stands. I mean, you just don't have a chance.
Miller first, Kiermaier at third base, 2 outs. And a 2-2 count. Little tap toward the mound. Pick up by Miley, and the throw is in time. The Rays will lead 2, fail to score. No score. Middle of the 4th. All on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. By USAA Insurance, banking and investments tailored for the military community. By Bank of America, life's better when we're connected. And by Toyota, let's go places. From Camden Yards, bottom of the fourth inning, Jonathan Scope leads off in a scoreless game. Strike one. It's popped up and will be out of play. Scope, Hardy, and Alvarez, the hitters, due up against Jake Odorizzi. One hop to short, picked by Miller. His throw is right on the money. That's one away. Odorizzi, in his second start of the year, pitched against the Orioles here. Gave up 4 runs in 6 innings and suffered a loss in his first decision of the year, a 5-3 game. Pitched against him at the end of April and came away with the victory. That was at the Trop, beat him 3-1. There's a strike to Hardy, and then saw him again at the end of June. Had a no decision and a loss in that game. 1 ball, 1 strike. And then at home on the 17th of July, posted a 5-2 victory, giving up the 2 runs on 7 hits in 6 innings. That was his 4th start of the year against them. And then on the 6th of September at home, he lost, giving up 7 runs in 4 innings against them. So here he is pitching for the 6th time this year. He's 3-4 lifetime against the Orioles with a .548.
And most of that damage done here at Oriole Park. Picks up the strikeout there, a nice fastball to Hardy, but you know, his career numbers here, you know, he's got 6 starts here, an ERA of 7.26, and the Orioles hitting .346 off him coming into this game. But both pitchers similar. We've seen spurts of them being very good. We've seen them being able to wiggle out of trouble, make big pitches when they've had to, which is why we sit here scoreless. But Odorizzi's been just so consistent. That last game that you were talking about where he got hit around a little bit by the Orioles, that was a game where it was just one of those games. I mean, everything that he threw, you know, ended up middle of the plate, didn't have his normal command. It was just a bad game. You have those every now and then, but other than that, he's been just spot on for the last couple months.
He's ahead of Alvarez. Alvarez, after that pitch up just out of the zone, and a 2-strike count.
And this is a lineup that's prone to chase that pitch, and Jake's so proficient at getting it to the proper spot. He pitches up in the zone and up above the zone about as well as anybody can. And it's not easy to do. There's an art to throwing that fastball right up around the letters each and every time. As you're growing up, you're taught to pitch down, 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 and then all of a sudden to make that adjustment and be able to pitch up and up consistently is not easy.
Up again, that might be why pitchers have such a difficult time pitching up effectively. They'll pitch up, but it's in the danger zone as opposed to up.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a new way to pitch. And if you can drive the ball downhill and elevate at the same time, well, that's the best of both worlds. We see Jake most of the time, you know, being up in the zone, and if he wants a strike, you know, not a chase, he'll go away from the hitter, which is fine. But It's not easy. You almost throw like a quarterback. You almost stand up a little bit more and not reach as much. Like right there, he really was reaching on that fastball. Look where it ended up. That's not the norm for Jake.
Yeah, you get too much plate down there that's up a little bit too much. That could be a dangerous pitch.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, Alvarez wishing he could see that again. That swing right there.
And he pops it up. That's a foul ball. Luke Maile has a play, makes the catch to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. We head into the 5th in a scoreless game. Headed into the 5th inning, and Wade Miley went to the mound and had the trainer come out. Buck Showalter, the Orioles manager, out there, and Miley is going to have to depart after 4 innings. And I wonder if that's not something that's a carryover from last inning. He went out to see how he was going to feel with all of that, and he's going to leave.
Yeah, he didn't look right on the play from Souza when he bounced off the mound to end the inning. He did not look right, and so this really, from his little mannerisms after that play, walking off the field to end the inning, not really surprising. Here's the little topper. See right there, you see the grimace, and that's right there. When he came up like that, you're like, that did not look right. The facial expression didn't look right. The way that he bounced up did not look right.
So the Orioles are going to call for a new pitcher. Looks like Darren O'Day. We'll be back in a moment.
Day will get as much time as he needs to warm up. You're looking at Nick Franklin, guys. He is going to get an MRI tomorrow on that injured left hamstring. Strained it earlier in this series. He's hoping the fact that it was on a stretch and not blown out while he was running may be a little more minor. He did a great job on the pick here, completing the double play to end that 4th inning, but then left the game, and we haven't seen him back on the field since. So Franklin, we should know more about him on Tuesday when the Rays come back after the off day tomorrow. In addition to wanting to get back on the field during his spare time, he's also served as our assistant stage manager for our Rays Live pregame shows. Guys, back to you.
Hey.
And apparently he's doing a pretty good job.
He's doing a great job. You know,
he's very versatile. You know, the Rays have always said he could do any number of things.
Yep.
He's proving it now.
Yeah, on the field, off the field. You know, he stopped by the set on the first pregame show here. We had him on as an impromptu guest. Of course, that led to Jim Hickey and Tom Foley. And right here, look at I'm sweating bullets. Nice little pat down there. Yep. He did a great job all across. I even got a little bit of a back rub, spit on it.
A little spit shine right there.
Spit shine.
Yeah, I like it.
As if there wasn't enough sweat.
Yeah, he looks like a natural in that role.
Well, again,
very versatile.
It goes back to the versatility.
Yeah.
He can slide. He's a chameleon.
Yeah.
He can slide into any role and make it look natural. Coaching up Montoya.
Yeah,
he's big on the back rubs today. Must be spending time with Nate Leet.
Well, Nate's, one of the best with
that.
that.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Little ham hands.
Yeah.
Get some working.
Mm-hmm. And now anything he could do for a third base coach, he's there to help.
Look, he cheered him up.
Yeah.
Charlie didn't look that giddy when Nick first walked over.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what. It's going to get to the point that they're going to tell Ron Porterfield, get this kid healthy and get him out on the field and out of our ear.
I'm telling you. See, look how happy Charlie is now. I mean,
he's telling him to get right in the mind.
Yeah, he can coach you up in a lot of ways. Make you look good, make you feel good.
Look at, he waved him off.
Yeah, see, there you are.
Go make something happen, 2-5.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I could have watched that for a while. What is that saying?
Well, hey, just a good vibe. You want to be a part of it. Well, here's Darren O'Day back active, and they've missed him. He has been, during his stay in Baltimore, a big part of this bullpen.
Back end lockdown type guy, not overpowering, but the arm angle and just knowing how to pitch to hitters. Fastball's not going to blow you away. The slider, let's see what he does though.
Dickerson, first hitter, drives it deep to left. Oh, that gets out of here. Home run to left off the bat of Corey Dickerson. His 21st home run of the year. And on the first pitch delivered by O'Day, Dickerson belts it out, and the Rays take a 1-0 lead.
Boy, I'm shocked that there haven't been more home runs hit today. And obviously this game's about halfway through. We'll see how it ends up. That pitch by Darren O'Day, not a bad pitch. Watch this thing. Starts down, it stays down just above the knees. But look at Corey Dickerson cover the plate and get underneath it. You know, usually it's that pitch that's down and out over the plate that Corey likes. This one down and away. That's how strong he is.
So Dickerson gives the Rays the lead. Now Schaefer up here. The count is 1-1. Well, that snapped an 0 for 10 for Dickerson, but over the span of this road trip until the last couple of games, he's been very hot and had home run distance to the opposite field on that pitch.
Well, he's another guy that doesn't get cheated, and he's taken some big swings on this trip. More confidence. He's feeling better about himself at the plate. He's been balanced. He's handling, you know, really the entire strike zone. We uncorked on that one, and that was not a bad pitch.
Well, really encouraging to see him hit that pitch that way, that far.
Well, that tells you that that he's locked in, that everything is feeling right at the plate, feeling comfortable, feeling in rhythm. I know he talked a lot about that, feeling in a good rhythm at the plate, and that's what happens.
A full count to Schaefer. .205 home runs for the Rays. So Alexi Ramirez on deck. And strike three call. That's the first out in the fifth. That strikeout pitch.
Little front door slider. You give up on it, you think that ball's off the plate in, and he's able to carry it right to the inside part.
The Bears goes after that one and misses. Wave and a miss, 0-2.
Good sinking action on that. Already the arm angle is going to give you issues. The velocity will not, but the movement that O'Day gets, the fact that he can spot from down there, that's what makes him so effective.
O'Day had been on the disabled list since about the middle of August. 1-2. We had a rotator cuff strain in that right shoulder. They made a move to activate him. Steve Pearce was put on the 60-day DL. It's wide now, 2-2. Stop down at third, but Machado has no play after that stop. And Ramirez is aboard.
Boy, nice job by Alexi Ramirez to just put that ball in play. He starts his swing. It's a breaking ball moving way away from him, but watch him just lengthen the swing just to put the ball in play. Ends up finding a perfect spot. Nice play by Machado, but there's no way he's going to get up and throw out Ramirez.
He continues to be an intriguing player for this team going forward. A veteran player. Little things like that can mean a lot to a team with young players around, and he's willing to play everywhere, and you would have to think he could play about anywhere he wants to play. He's an interesting, potentially an interesting piece to the puzzle of this roster.
Well, and after going through what he went through to become a Ray, you get sent home like that.
Yep.
You will be motivated this offseason, knowing that, hey, listen, maybe things aren't as sound as I thought they would be, and I will be ready to go next season. So you'll have a motivated player willing to do anything, set an example. Yeah, it makes you think.
Yep, sure does. Strike the count to Luke Maile. Rays with a run, now 1 on, 1 out. There goes the runner. The pitch hit on the ground to third. No play at second. Maile's going to be out at first. Ramirez started on the pitch, arriving safely at second. He's there with 2 gone for the top of the order.
Yeah, and Machado still thought about going over there to scope. He wanted to get that lead man, try to turn 2 in the worst way, but that was a great job by the Rays anticipating and sending Ramirez there. That gives him a 2-out shot.
Mikey Mott took 1 out of 2 today with a 4th inning single. Skies it to the right side. That's going to be out of play. Trumbo over there, but no play on it. Strike 1. You mentioned with O'Day being activated and Steve Pearce going to the 60-day disabled list. Saw him the other night. You know, he's had the elbow and forearm problems, and they're not sure if that's going to require surgery or not, but it became a little more serious than he had hoped. One ball and 1 strike. Dickerson opening this inning, hitting the first pitch, served by Darren O'Day into the seats and left. 1-2 the count on Mikey Mott. 2-2. Kevin Kiermaier on deck. Orioles have the veteran left-hander Brian Dunsing throwing in the bullpen. And strike 3 is called to retire the side. Ray's going to run on the leadoff home run by Corey Dickerson. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's now 1-0 Tampa Bay. Fifth inning in this 1-0 game. The Rays now lead on the home run. Struck by Corey Dickerson. $2 Kid Ticket Tuesdays presented by Morgan Auto Group returns Tuesday when the Rays play the Yankees. Kids 14 and under get $2 tickets with a purchase of a full price paid adult ticket. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit raysbaseball.com/specials. Caleb Joseph, the catcher, leading it off. And back around to the top of the order, Jones and Kim. The pitch popped up, foul ball, and will not be playable. Joseph lifted a fly ball to right his first time. Fly ball right field. Souza Jr. back and reaches up to make the catch before he got to the track. Glad he got that left arm up.
Well, and I think that's what Kiermaier's telling him. Yeah, see, he's like, I was just doing your little hop there. And Kiermaier's like, just not now. It's a one-run game. Just make the catch. Leave the hopping to me. Those two,
they're quite a duo out there.
They are. And always, giving each other little signs and every out.
You could imagine they developed and ever approached the top of their game, because there's some athleticism in both of them that you see. But what a combo that would be to watch if things really started to fall into place. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, they both can be reckless, with their bodies. Kiermaier, he's more of, leap a building in a
single bound.
Right, and Souza Jr. is more of like, I'm going to run through the building.
That's right.
A little bit different there.
Well, they don't want to be exactly the same.
No, but they've got energy to burn.
Yep. Good-natured guys.
Yeah, very good. Like them both, easy to like.
Yep. For various reasons. They're fun just to watch.
Oh, man. I mean, Souza will give you a game. Once a ball game, he will give you something where we're looking at each other going, did he just do that? That's why we've now the phrase, he Souza'd that.
Yeah.
It's become a verb. For good reason.
Jones getting time, stepping out here on Odorizzi.
Yeah, sometimes, listen, we have a pretty cool job. Would you agree?
Yes,
absolutely,
without question.
But there are times where we're looking for motivation too, and he's there to give it.
Yeah, that's great. Love those guys for that reason. 2-2 the count here to Jones.
Think about him through the years. Kochman, he was good.
Yeah.
Really good. Lots of guys.
Yeah.
Kelly Shopik in the bat toss.
Yep. Still have to reference that.
Yeah.
And measure all bat tosses to him.
I haven't seen one come real close yet.
Nope. Getting a report on Wade Miley with some discomfort in his upper back. Jones fouls it away, still 2-2.
Well, maybe that was on that throw to Souza Jr. where there was a little bit of a grimace, maybe something pulled up there or grabbed up there.
That's Donnie Hart. He is the left-handed version of Darren O'Day. Fly ball lifted into left. Montouk there to make the catch for the second out of the inning. 2 up, 2 down. 7 in a row, retired since Machado reached on the error. And here's Kim. Young-Soo Kim, 0 for 2. It's a ball, no strikes. Rizzi allowing 4 hits to this point. Picks up a strike around the knees, just on that outside edge, and that's an example of the call you can get with Eric Cooper back there. We've seen a number of umpires on this road trip. We're not going to give you that as a strike. Ground ball by the mound. It's Ramirez from second base, throwing out Kim. We're through 5, and the Rays lead 1-0. Jake Odorizzi and Wade Miley open this game, opposing each other on the mound, and for Odorizzi, it's been pretty typical for him.
It really has. I mean, he's been in control, and he's getting a little help right here. How about Darren O'Day coming off the disabled list? First pitch that he throws, Corey Dickerson takes what wasn't a bad pitch and deposits it in the seats in left field in support of Jake Odorizzi, but he you know, he's just made it look easy. Just very businesslike out there in 5 strong innings so far.
Well, Donnie Hart's going to be the new pitcher. And he comes about as close to being a left-handed edition of Darren O'Day. He may not drop down quite as far, but he's pretty close. So it's going to be Hart, young man out of Fulshear, Texas. And he's going to face Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier, Longoria, and Miller due up for the Rays here against Hart.
Well, you start to think about all these guys coming out of the bullpen, all of the different styles. O'Day, Donnie Hart. Think about Michael Givens is Darren O'Day plus about 7-8 miles an hour. I mean, it's all by design. Buck Showalter likes to give opposing offenses a different look.
Well, Kiermaier hit by a pitch his last time and leans away from that one. Has a stolen base, giving him 20 on the year. 20 of 22 this year. Two and 0. Miley worked 4+. O'Day 1 inning. 2 hits and the run on the home run. Couple of strikeouts in that inning for O'Day. Two and 1. Pitch catches the zone.
How tough if you're a left-handed hitter, to stay in on that. I mean, the amount of ground that sweeping breaking ball covered. You saw Kevin Kiermaier jumping out of the way, and that's catching almost the middle of the zone, inner third, inner half.
And that one, oh, he went. He thought he might have held up. He said, what are you going to do with those?
Yeah. Not only is he a sidewinder, but he steps way across his body. So he looks like he's throwing the ball to somebody in the on-deck circle behind you. And then he's going to go ahead and sweep the breaking ball that far out. And Kiermaier gets rung. Let's take a look. That's 2 out of 3.
Here's Longoria chopping it foul. Yeah, it can be awfully frustrating. You saw the pitch prior to that. And then he just took that one and moved it off the plate. Kiermaier tried to check. Strike the count on Longoria. Bounds it foul, 0-2. That's Tommy Hunter up in the bullpen. The Rays saw Hart in the game here Thursday night. Longoria hit one to the warning track and left off him. This time skies it foul the other way. He came on to face Kiermaier, Longoria, and Miller then, and here in the 6th inning, the same 3 due up. He struck out Kiermaier, got Longoria on that fly ball to deep left before walking Miller and departing for a pitching change. Evan takes it high, 1-2. Balls, 2 strikes. The Rays, since the All-Star break, have played .500 baseball. They are 30-30 since then. And the Orioles have tried to stay in the race. They're a game under .500 since the break at 30-31. Roller, this will be backhanded by Scope, and the throw cannot be handled by Davis. That'll be a base hit for Evan Longoria. The Baltimore defense set up in a shift, putting Scope on the shortstop side of the bag, helped him get over there. But it's a base hit nevertheless for Longoria.
Well, hustle up the line. Here you see it. Roll it over. You split those defenders and you force Scope to have to make that play. Now he's got to make the long throw moving away, and not used to making that long of a throw like that.
Now it's Brad Miller. Pitch inside. You know, with the shift, there are many situations where traditionally a second baseman may not be known to have a great arm. But with the shift, there may be, well, there is a more premium on a second baseman with a good arm.
No question. Yeah, when you start to talk about, you know, versatile guys, yeah. I mean, normal second base where you traditionally are going to field the ball, you don't need that. But with the shift, playing up the middle, that throw that Scope had to make right there, those are difficult throws, and you better have a hose or you're just not going to be worth that much, even in the shift.
Well, the pitch inside to Miller, and it's 3-0. Will Hart walked him the other night and is behind him 3-0. 1 on, 1 out. Strike. Souza's on deck, and Dickerson behind him. the upper part of this lineup for the Rays stacked right, left, right, left, right, left. The lefty in here with Kiermaier leading off, got him. Longoria reaching on the base hit, and 3-1 to Miller is outside. That will push Longoria up to second base as Miller walks for the second time in this game. Rays have drawn 2 walks, and both belong to Miller, and Steven Souza Jr. will be up.
Well, this is the part of the bullpen for the Orioles that has struggled. We talked about their struggles since the beginning of August. Trouble getting the games to Zach Britton outside of getting it deep to Brock, then to Britton. But getting it that far, they've struggled. And with Wade Miley coming out of the game after 4 innings, now they're forced to eat up more than half the game. And having a hard time finding the zone.
This is wide to Souza. And now he's behind him 2-0, and that will draw a visit from Caleb Joseph. 2 on with 1 out, and Souza ahead in the count. Takes a cut, fouling the fastball back. When approaching the upper 80s. 2-1 to count.
Donnie Hart strikes me as a guy who's trying to locate. You know, he's trying to locate, doesn't want those balls to flatten out over the heart of the plate. Can you imagine, when guys are linear and driving right towards home plate, it can be difficult to locate from time to time. He's trying to locate throwing around a corner.
Liner into left. Kim comes on. It drops in front of him for a base hit. And the bases will be loaded. Longoria stops at third. That line drive. And Kim could not get there in time. A sinking liner as it turned out. Bases loaded. Only 1 out.
You keep putting yourself in bad counts. Bad things can happen. And the Rays with an opportunity to put some distance between themselves and the Orioles. How about this? Corey Dickerson greeting Darren O'Day rather rudely. First pitch fastball down and away. He covers it and gets it out of here.
At our Geico moment to this point, accounting for the only run of the contest. Dickerson, a big wave and a miss. Contact foul. 0-2. Ground ball headed to second. Out at second and out at first. 4-6-3. Scope Hardy to Davis. 1-0 Rays. To the bottom of inning 6, shirts off our backs returns September 20th. That'll be Tuesday to the 25th. Make a donation to the Rays Baseball Foundation and receive a scratch-off card in exchange. You could win tickets to a 2017 home game or a jersey right off a player's back. Every card is a winner. For more details, visit raysbaseball.com/shirts. Jake Odorizzi through 5 has made 83 pitches of shutout baseball. And the first pitch to Manny Machado is a strike call. Machado, Trumbo, and Davis due up. Oh, 2. Two and 2. Jake threw 92 pitches in his last outing against the Blue Jays. Look, a shot to center field. Kiermaier will go to the wall, and that one is out of here. Machado hits his 36th home run. Shot to center, and the game is tied.
Well, much like Adam Jones did earlier in the game, Manny Machado went up and got on top of that fastball. 2-strike pitch, and Odorizzi's going to come up in the zone. There it is, the four-seamer, and watch Machado get right to it. Boy, quick stay inside of it. And that's the kind of power that he has. Straightaway center field, not much doubt.
9 career hits for Machado off Odorizzi. 4 for home runs.
And the Rays had pitched him so tough this series. I mean, he was 3 for 14 coming into that at-bat. No homers, just 1 driven in the series. And he finally busts loose there, and it ties the game.
2 strikes the count to Trumbo. He had an infield hit in the first, struck out in the third. He gets a little piece of this one. 2 strikes.
Mark Trumbo, one of those guys that'll swing at just about anything. You get him to an 0-2 count, you do not have to throw him a strike.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a hot shot foul into the seats.
I mean, another one.
Yep.
These things get scary, and it's intimate here. You're close to the field. These guys turn and burn.
Yep.
And if you're not paying attention, and guess what? Sometimes they hit them so hard, even if you are paying attention, you don't have much of a chance.
Yep. That's exactly right. Into center field. That will carry to Kiermaier for the first out. Well, the home run by Machado to tie this game. In the last outing 2 starts ago for Odorizzi against Baltimore. Gave up a grand slam to Machado. And the game tying home run in this game. Here's Chris Davis. It's wide, 1-0. Trumbo leads the major leagues in home runs. Chris Davis tied for 4th. 38 home runs. And Machado started the day 8th in the majors in home runs. He's going to get some action in the bullpen. A run home, 1 out in the 6th. The game tied 1-1. Bottom of inning 6. Both bullpens busy. Gibbons up for Baltimore. Farquhar for the Rays. The count still 2 strikes on Davis. We saw Gibbons briefly in the game last night. Back Farquhar has pitched in 2 of the first 3 games of this series. And up again right now.
He's been pretty good for the Rays too here recently. This most recent trip back to the big leagues, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of big strikeouts in important parts of the game.
Roller right side, and the underhanded toss with Miller over there. The Rays shortstop playing on the right side, so that goes Miller to Schaefer 6-3 with the shift employed.
I mean, how many times do you see a 6-3 where he shovels it to the first baseman?
That might be the first time.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's the game's a changing, Dwayne.
It is.
No, the game has changed. Forget is changing. Has changed.
Scope taking a pitch down and in. We have second baseman with great arms and shortstops just shoveling the ball to the first baseman.
We have 5-6-3 double plays.
2-0. Jake, an out away from getting through the 6th. Now 2-1 to Scope. Scope has given them a good second base. He's given them second baseman with a strong arm, a guy who plays every day, and a guy who has power.
What more do you want?
Yeah, all of that from a second baseman.
Yeah.
I mean, he quietly over here, you know, Baltimore, there's a lot of guys who get attention here. He's done a nice job here. Every day shows up and plays hard. He is out on strikes this time. So we go to the 7th inning. This game now tied 1-1. Sun brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. In Baltimore, near the Inner Harbor, Jake Odorizzi, 6 innings of 1-run baseball. The runs coming on solo home runs. Corey Dickerson hit one for the Rays in the 5th. Manny Machado hit one for Baltimore in the 6th. So we go to the 7th inning. Michael Givens in out of the bullpen. So Hart got credit for the full inning in the 6th, and as we go to the 7th, it's Givens.
He's been a busy man, ringing up some strikeouts, another sidewinder, but with a ton of velocity.
Strike one on Schaefer.
Think of the guys that we've seen so far. O'Day from down below, 85, Slurvy, frisbee-like breaking ball. Then Donnie Hart from the left side throwing around corners. Now we get Michael Givens down there at 94 or 6.
Yep. 0-2. And Schaefer out on 3 pitches. That one at 96. Good work right there.
Yeah, just overpowered. I mean, it's a tough at-bat. His last at-bat came off of O'Day. Similar release point, but about 10 miles an hour slower. And this one here, you see him just kind of feeling for the baseball, and that bat not even long enough.
Alexi Ramirez taking ball 1. One ball and 1 strike. Well, fastball 96, slider 86. Tough angles. Foul back, fastball mid-90s. 1-2. And Ramirez came away from that last swing. A little issue there, and brought both Paul Harker and Kevin Cash out. See the grimace there. It had to do with the wrist, maybe.
Can't imagine it's going to be much better the next swing. Yeah, see, they're still not feeling real good right there.
Yeah, he said, no, I'm not coming out.
No, that's exactly right. And veteran player getting another opportunity and wants to do whatever he can to stay in there and play.
2-2. Pops it up. Scope out there. 2 outs in the 7th. Well, here's what's coming up Tuesday on Rays Live. The pregame show is presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Drew Smiley will be opening the final homestand of the year, and we'll hear from him. And Orestes will break down the Yankees catcher Gary Sanchez. Here's Luke Maile. Bouncing it foul. A couple of ground balls from Maile, one to short, the other one to third today. In the top of the 7th, tied 1-1. Two. Ball, 2 strikes. Rays' run came in the 5th. Baltimore's run came in the 6th. Two and two. Top of the order would be next if Maile should get aboard. Battling here with 2 strikes now. A foul ball into the screen, holding the count at 2-2. It's been Jake Odorizzi today for the Rays. He's over 100 pitches. Farquhar continues to stay loose in the bullpen. 104 unofficially here for Jake. And the count is full. Farquhar getting ready out there. And strike 3 called. 3 up, 3 down go the Rays. Bottom of the 7th coming, 1-1. Half of the 7th inning. Rays will make a pitching change here. Jake Odorizzi working the first 6.
Well, another tremendous outing from Jake Odorizzi and nothing to show for it. It's just amazing how often he throws the ball well and ends up with a no decision. There was one, you don't hardly even call that a mistake because he got that pitch right where he wanted to. It was a better job of Machado making an adjustment and getting that ball out to center field. But other than that, he didn't hurt himself with the walk, didn't strike out many guys, but didn't need to. Induce some soft contact, 6 innings and a run. Can't ask for much more from your starter.
And now it's Danny Farquhar on for the 30th time. He is 1-0 with a .323 earned run average. 105 pitches in the game for Odorizzi, allowing a run on 5 hits.
Well, Danny Farquhar has had some huge innings and huge strikeouts on this road trip. You think about him getting Encarnacion with the bases loaded in Toronto. You think the other night, the couple of guys he got, Davis and, was it Machado?
They got Machado and Davis.
Yeah, with the bases juiced.
Yep.
Yeah, he's come up with some big ones for the Rays, and this latest look that they've gotten at him over the course of this season, he looks like a guy that, you know, you say, start to think about next year's bullpen. He's got a good chance to be a part of it, the way he's been throwing the ball and the way that the changeup has come around.
Consistent. You know, he had in Seattle, he had a couple of runs there that were pretty impressive, and then some issues. But if that changeup, because you see the velocity, he got that, and that changeup, if it's consistent, that's a nice pitch for him.
Yeah, it's a wipeout variety. I mean, it's you know, some guys' changeup is designed to miss the barrel, induce soft contact. Farquhar's changeup is to punch you out. It's a swing and miss pitch.
First pitch to J.J. Hardy is a ball. Garten and Evelyn limbering in the bullpen, and a ground ball. Great stop by Ramirez, but by the time he gets up, there's no play. The Rays had that shift on again. And this time Ramirez got over there, got a glove on it to stop it, but had no play.
Well, this is what you're talking about, Dwayne. Right there, Alexi Ramirez, a little more comfortable over there as a shortstop, but that ball hit hard. A nice job of getting to it, but there was just no way to scramble and make any sort of play there.
Pedro Alvarez now. Pitch wide. Hardy, the base runner. The 2-0. The Toronto Los Angeles Angels game. Moving into the bottom of the first. Toronto did not score in the top of the inning. Yankees and the Red Sox tonight at Fenway. Alvarez with a count of 3-0. It's a call there on the corner, 3-1. Challenged him and gets the foul ball back. Fastball right on top of the zone, and he fouled it. And that's upstairs. So he walks Alvarez. First 2 men on in the 7th inning.
Here's the concern. It's from the bottom of the order. It's 7 and 8. Now you got Caleb Joseph here. I'm sure he's going to be putting a bunt down. And then you're going to turn it over to Jones, Kim, Machado, Trumbo. Yep. So that's why this hurts, and that's why Jim Hickey on the way out to the mound now for to talk a little bit of strategy, what he's going to do with these hitters. And he will control the conversation. That was part of him being on the show today.
Yeah, and I thought there's some great insight coming from that exchange too. He's always telling you what you can do.
Yeah, see, that's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you say, hey, listen, don't pitch this guy a certain way, you don't want to put negative thoughts
that's like
into
the
a guy's
pitching
mind.
coaches come out and say, don't give him anything good to hit. Well, that's the first thing you're going to do because it's in your mind now.
Yeah.
You don't even go there.
You don't even go there. And you're looking at him like, I don't plan on it, guy. I don't plan on it. You got anything else? Because if that's it, you can head back.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's right.
Goodness. It just brought up some bad memories.
Yeah, but that's happened, right?
Yeah.
It's better if they just come out and go, I'm just coming out to give you a breather.
That's right.
And then leave.
That's right.
Yes, just say that, don't say the other. If you can't be positive and say this is what we're going to do to get out of this. Now, Caleb Joseph trying to bunt and takes the pitch for a ball.
And I'm going to tell you, the Rays crashing right there. Evan Longoria was coming in aggressively. And then when the bat was pulled back, well, you could see him turn and spin. See about maybe getting back to third base there in case there's any attempt to move up by Hardy.
Raimel running at first. The bunt down. Play at first. Ramirez overtaking the toss from Schaefer. So Raimel moves up to second. Over to third goes Hardy. Caleb Joseph puts down the sacrifice.
Well, that was well executed by Caleb Joseph. How about the fact that he now, Dwayne, let's see, that's 126 or so ABs.
Yeah, no RBIs.
No, and he's probably thinking right there, first and second.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody's had that many at-bats this deep into a season or for an entire season.
No, Steve Staggs had 97 plate appearances for the A's in 78 without a run batted in. So if he doesn't get an RBI,
he's the guy.
The rest of the year, he will be the guy.
He is the guy. He's got to pretend he doesn't see that sign and swing away, don't you?
He's a team guy. Oh, a shot just outside of third, foul off the bat of Adam Jones for a strike.
Yeah, there was a situation like that. With Buck Showalter as a manager, you certainly don't want to do that.
No. And
you also don't want to bunt into the crash play, because I did that one time. That's the only time that Buck ever lit me up out on the bench. Everybody's crashing, they're going through my pockets, and I'm bunting. It wasn't good.
That's a strike. He did go. 0-2.
Yeah, so you get the bunt sign in that situation, you put it down.
Yeah. Do what you're supposed to do. If you do that, everything's good.
It's the mantra of the Patriots as well as everybody else. Do your job. That's it. Just do your job. Then everything works.
Swing and a miss. There's a big strikeout for Farquhar to get Adam Jones out number 2 of the inning. Kim is due up. Kevin Cash out of the dugout. We're going to see a new pitcher here to match up with Kim. trucks, guts, glory, Ram. By Kubota. For more information, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Oriole Park at Camden Yards. It's the old warehouse right there. Just beyond that, right field. A view from the Inner Harbor as Dana Evelyn takes over. Drew Stubbs will be the pinch hitter for Kim, who will be lifted with the lefty Evelyn on, making his 29th appearance.
Well, this is the matchup that Kevin Cash chooses. You know, you're thinking, okay, Farquhar, Kim. If you're going to bring in Evelyn, you know that Buck Showalter's going to go to his bench. This is more than likely going to be the guy, so we'll see how it plays out. Rays need one more big out, get out of this inning.
Evelyn worked 2/3 of an inning in last night's game in relief of Andriese. Pitch is a strike. How about those numbers pinch hitting in his career, Drew Stubbs? One and one. It's going to be a little wide. 2-1. Two. Stubbs claimed off waivers at the end of August by the Orioles from Texas. He split the year between Atlanta and Texas before joining Baltimore. 2-2. Upstairs. 3-2.
You could have rung. That was close enough. Stubbs starting to dive as that breaking ball shoots in, and Eric Cooper has it just a little bit too high. I think maybe if that's a fastball, it may get called, but the breaking ball shouldn't be up there.
Strike three call. He got him with a fastball there. Got him looking. 2 men left, both men in scoring position. And the Orioles do not score. We're tied 1-1 through 7. Baltimore today. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, how about these two developments? Boy, bad news for both the Mets and certainly for the Cleveland Indians with Carlos Carrasco out with that broken right hand. Not good news there.
No, it's same with Jacob deGrom, and you know, some bad injuries. You think Cleveland too. You know, they had the big three: Carrasco, Salazar, Kluber. They're down to Kluber at this point. Salazar with some arm issues is out maybe for the rest of the season. Carrasco out for the rest of the season, and a promising season for the Indians has taken a little bit of a turn as some of their big boys in the rotation.
Yeah, what a challenge that's going to be now.
Boy. Well, I mean, they look like one of the more complete teams in the American League, and the door's wide open for anybody that gets hot down the stretch.
Brad Brock will be the new pitcher as we go to the 8th, top of the order for the Rays. Mikey Montouk takes the pitch for a ball. Yeah, Cleveland starting the day up by 8 over Detroit in the Central. And those are big, big losses. Drew Stubbs in left. And that's a strike to Montouk. 1-1. Well, 2-1. Two. Brock got the win here Friday night in the 5-4 Baltimore victory. He followed Ubaldo Jimenez to the hill, worked the 8th. Zach Britton closed it. Montouk had a base hit in the 4th inning, was caught trying to steal 3rd eventually. A 2-2 count. Time requested by Montouk, granted by Eric Cooper. Montouk out on strikes. That's the first out of the 8th. We'll get Kiermaier up there.
94, some elevation. So tough to get up there. I'd say that's the in vogue pitch anymore. Climb the ladder, top of the strike zone, just above.
Kiermaier shortens, takes the pitch for a ball. Evan picked up his 20th stolen base of the year. A swipe of 3rd in the 4th inning. Nobody on, 1 out in the 8th, in a tie game, 1-1. Kevin way up in the count. Evan Longoria on deck. And ball 4, not close. Kiermaier aboard for Longoria.
Wrong guy to walk. Not with that speed that he's got over there.
Longoria singled off Brock in the 1 inning he pitched on Friday. Over to first, he's back in there. Haven't had a base hit in the 6th. And the pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Draws another throw over from Brock. Back in head first. A little wide there. It's now 1-1.
Brad Brock, another guy, give you a little bit of crossfire action, but a much higher arm angle, still tremendous stuff. Sweeping breaking ball, hard fastball. How about that changeup?
1-2.
Bottom fell out of that.
Followed it up with a fastball with a little extra on that one.
That's the up-down game. You know, the changeup, you get the swing below the zone. You immediately follow up with a pitch that's 10 miles an hour harder at the top of the strike zone. You see this combination a lot. It's so effective.
Two outs with the left-handed batter, Brad Miller, coming up. Miller 0 for 6 against Brock in his career. And that's strike one. Quicker on the move over this time to first with Kiermaier the runner.
Yeah, Brock doesn't have the quick feet and the short arm action. That's how you pick guys off. He's certainly going to keep them close and let them know that he's thinking about them, but long arm action, probably not going to get him.
1-1.
Not to mention when he comes off the rubber and throws that ball over, his little recoil action on the mound. He tries to throw that thing over there about as hard as he can.
And that pitch popped into short left. Stubbs waiting for it, making the catch. A walk and a man left. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 1-1. Positive Coaching Alliance and its mission to develop better athletes, better people, by working to provide all youth and high school athletes a positive character-building sports experience. Visit FoxSportsSupports.com to learn more. We go to the bottom of inning 8. Dana Evelyn came on to get the last out in the 7th. And Ryan Garten makes his 32nd appearance. 1-0 with a 4.24 coming into this tie game. He'll face Manny Machado with Mark Trumbo due next and Chris Davis to follow. Machado homered in the 6th to tie the game. And takes this first pitch, a breaking ball, in for a strike. One and one. Zach Britton up in the bullpen. There's a strike. 1-2. Erasmo Ramirez up in the bullpen for the Rays. And a 2-2 count.
Well, whose bullpen can outlast the other?
That's the question.
They're well stocked.
There's ball 3.
You just got to be careful. A lot of power in this Oriole lineup. A lot of power on the Rays side.
Machado lifts a high fly ball into left. Montouk waiting and puts it away for the out. Well, he went to 3-2 and gets him on the fly ball. Mark Trumbo leading the majors in home runs with 42. Missed the last couple of games with back spasms. He swings and shoots this one deep to center field. He tees off on the fastball and hits it out of here. I mean, he hit that one a long way. And it's 2-1 Baltimore.
That's what you're afraid of. I mean, you know, you've got no margin for error. Tie ball game, it's late, heart of the order, a lot of power throughout, and one mistake can cost you, and that's just how quickly it can happen. That ball was blasted. See right there, that fastball, center cut, just above the knees.
Well, Davis takes it wide.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Keep it to a one-run deficit. Battle as hard as you can here. Keep it 2-1. The Rays had some good at-bats against Zach Britton the other night. And really, it came a tremendous play away from tying that game. 2 perfect throws to get Montouk at the plate. So, got a chance.
Now a shot by Davis. That's going to go to the wall into right center field. Davis with a double.
You don't want to give Britton 2 runs to play with. You got to knuckle down here. Back-to-back balls that were scorched by the Orioles. You know, these are the types of fastballs these guys feast off of. You're at the top of the zone and above it, you can get it by them because of the nature of their swings. But if you're down in that mid-range, just above the knees, where they can get the extension and the lift in the swing, that's where they do their damage, and that's where those last 2 pitches were.
to Jim Hickey with a conference on the hill before they face Jonathan Scope. The double for Davis is 20th. Pitch is a strike. Vinny Romero up in the bullpen. This one will get through Maile. Over to third base goes Davis. One and one to count on Scope. Wild pitch charged to Garten.
Now that forces the infield in, and Garten got to make some tough pitches here. And you'd love to see him work his way to get an opportunity to strike him out. And he got it. Now you're going to need this one here. You need an unproductive out. Cannot let Baltimore score this third run.
The 1-2. Popper into short right. Souza closing. He'll make the catch. Tag at third, and Davis decides to hang on. He started to churn down the line and then pulled up.
Well, you know what you do right there is Chris Davis is going to do that because he wants Souza Jr. to make the throw. You force the throw, and at that point, then you hope that Souza airmails it or throws it wide, and then you can score. Really no intention of tagging up and going here, but you want to force the throw and force the action. And how about that? Perfect throw.
Two outs with Davis at third. J.J. Hardy at the plate. Pitch is a strike. Britton in the bullpen. Angels have taken a 1-0 lead over Toronto. That game's in the top of the third in Anaheim. A ball and a strike. 2-1 Baltimore here in the bottom of the 8th. This one by Hardy. One and two. This one slipping away, a breaking ball attempt way high. Now 2-2. And Hardy goes after it and misses the fastball up. A run scores on the Trumbo home run. It's 2-1 Baltimore. keep it going. Home runs so far, counting for all of the runs. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. We'll anchor the coverage from the booth. We'll hear from Kevin Cash and player reaction from the clubhouse. Zach Britton, the Baltimore closer, makes his 61st appearance, and perfect in the save department. 2-1 overall, 44 of 44. Well, you can see Brad Lidge was perfect in 08. Zach Britton so far perfect here. Jose Valverde in 2011. Eric Gagne, 55 saves, perfect for the Dodgers in 03. Steven Souza Jr. leads off, chops it toward the middle, base hit into center, and the Rays put the leadoff man on. Second hit of the day for Steven Souza Jr. Well, there's a start.
I tell you, I feel good about the Rays' chances. I know he's been perfect, but you think back the other night, the at-bats that they had off of Zach Britton, they were able to lay off the sinker that was down in the zone, work some extended at-bats. If you get one up here, you got to go after it. Souza Jr. did just that, and a leadoff base hit.
Well, Souza had that extended at-bat against him the other night. Had a good at-bat. Hit the ball to the track in the left. And a base hit this time on the first pitch. Now Corey Dickerson. The strike at the knees. Michael Bourne in the game and left. Drew Stubbs moves from left to right.
Boy, if Corey Dickerson had the bunt as part of his game, this is such a tough matchup. Manny Machado, not even near. I mean, he'd be a base hit.
It's a foul ball outside of first. 0-2. Logan Forsythe on deck. For Schaefer next. Time granted by Eric Cooper. Two to 1 game on the Trumbo home run in the bottom of the 8th. We're in the 9th. Dickerson a tap. Britton goes back to second out there. No throw to first. Scope taking the throw. So Souza's cut down. Dickerson reaches on a fielder's choice. And now Logan Forsythe will pinch hit. Forsythe 0 for 5 in his career against Britton. Hitting for Richie Schaefer. And they have Alexei Ramirez on deck. And remember the other night, Ramirez doubled off him, led to the game-ending play. But he is 5 of 13. Against Britton. Pitch is a strike to Forsythe.
And there's nothing that you can really do with that pitch right there besides beat it into the ground. And you can see Logan's reaction when Cooper called it a strike, like, I got to deal with that now.
Into the dirt, skipping away, and down to second base goes Dickerson. A wild pitch puts Dickerson into scoring position. So the Rays are going to have a couple shots here to tie this game.
Well, just overthrowing that fastball. He's trying to stay way down in the zone. Saw him do that the other night too. A number of pitches in the dirt, and if you're not fundamentally sound behind the plate, well, you're going to get some move ups. And now
the tapper foul toward the on deck circle. Braves have a shot now. Dickerson. One, two. And that's wide. Outside with the fastball. Stays alive, tapping it foul. That fastball consistently 95, 96, 97 at times.
pretty tight range.
Look at that. Two. Strike three called on the outside corner. Went away, caught the corner at 96. Two gone.
Boy, well located right there. Right on that outside corner. Well executed pitch by Britton and out away, but trouble here at the plate for him. A guy that's had some success off of him.
Well, Alexei Ramirez, as we mentioned, had a double the other night off him. Is 5 for 13 as a base hit in this game. 5 for 13 lifetime against Britton. And a turn, but nothing doing back there. Ramirez getting the start at second base. Now they'll have a little conference again, back and forth. Rays winning 2 of the first 3 games from this series. A little tap towards short. That's Hardy. Throw to first in time. That will end it. It's a 2-1 final. The Baltimore Orioles win it on a home run by Mark Trumbo in the bottom of the 8th. And they get Britton on in the 9th to close it out. For Baltimore, 2 runs, 8 hits. no errors with 8 men left for the Rays. A run, 6 hits, 1 error with 7 men left on base. Brock will get the win. Garton, the losing pitcher, save number 45 in as many attempts for Britain before 28,427. Took 3 hours and 1 minute to play this game. And the Rays and the Orioles divide this 4-game series right down the middle. The Rays finish the road trip 5-6. And now we'll head home for the final homestand of the year. And this Baltimore ball club will watch the scoreboard for the rest of the day. They defeat the Rays 2-1. For Brian Anderson and Todd Callis, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. We'll be with you on Tuesday from the Trop against New York at 6:30. Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers is next. We'll see you there.